Are you looking to grow your dental practice and attract top-tier new patients? Discover the potential of digital marketing with a personalized strategy session. Join Lila Stone, the marketing director at Ekwa, for an exclusive 90-minute consultation. Lila and her team will dedicate 6 hours before your meeting to create a customized marketing plan specifically for your practice. This valuable opportunity is free of charge and comes with no commitments. Visit www.insuranceuntangledorg/MSM to schedule your meeting with Lila today. You'll also receive a free analysis report so you can start transforming your practice through the power of digital marketing.
You are now listening to another episode of the Insurance Untangled podcast, where we explore the various challenges faced by dental practices due to their reliance on insurance. Join us in this podcast as we dive deep into the issues surrounding dental insurance dependence and offer practical solutions and strategies to help you take control of your practice's financial future.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the Insurance Untangled podcast. My name is Ben Tuinei, and I'm one of the co-hosts of this podcast. And as you know, we've developed this podcast to helping practices that are tangled up with insurance. Today, I have my good friend Naren with me. Today, I'm going to be interviewing him. Naren, how are you?
I'm doing great. And you?
Doing well, thank you. Hope you had a wonderful Halloween and a nice start to fall.
Yes.
Well, excellent. Well, thanks for taking time, Naren. Interviewing you is it's always fun to learn great and new things about marketing. What we've decided to talk about today is a concept about, developing your marketing blueprint to make 2025 your best year yet. So let's dive into it. Naren, my first question for you is, what is the marketing problem that most practice owners deal with that they're not aware of?
Yeah, I think I still talk to practice owners who say, oh, I spend X dollars into marketing and I get so many patients. And I don't know how many patients are coming from where, but I do think the biggest marketing problem that most practice owners who listen to the Insurance Untangled podcast are not aware of is your patients from PPO plans are very expensive. Meaning, without you even realizing it, you might end up spending $2,000-$3,000 per patient, right? So that is, I think, the biggest issue that people are not aware of, and we can unpack that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's kind of interesting that when you look at the cost of a new patient, from an insurance perspective, write-offs these days are rising. The percentiles are keep on going up, but the fee reimbursements from insurance carriers remain stagnant. So therefore, the cost to deal with PPO or get new patients from an in-network perspective, naturally is probably the most expensive thing that you could do. So when you talk about the cost, Naren, what is the cost of a new patient? What should be a reasonable cost for a new patient?
Yeah, so let's talk about a cost of a new PPO patient, right? So for example, let's say you are on a PPO plan that pays you $1,100 per year. That's the max. Assuming you get the entire max, you're not doing $1,100 worth of dentistry to get that $1,100. You're probably doing $1,700, $1,800 worth of dentistry. And there's two reasons for that. One is the PPO plans control your fee, right? So you are not allowed to charge your usual and customary fee based on your experience, your knowledge, your expertise. Rather, it's fixed by the PPO plans. One of the things that PPO plans try to do is to make dentistry a commodity, right? Because if it's a commodity, they can pay you the lowest amount possible, right? If it's not a commodity and they have to respect the fact that you have 25 years of experience and you have special training for certain things, and therefore they need to pay you appropriately versus somebody who just graduated from dental school 2 minutes ago, then they lose their leverage. So they control the fee you can charge. That's number one. And I know Ben's team can help negotiate that, but still they do control it. Second thing they do is, they don't pay you the full fee. I mean, they literally will only pay a partial amount of even the reduced fee they allow you to charge. So when we study this very closely, let's say if you're doing $1,100 worth of dentistry, or you're getting paid $1,100 for dentistry, you're doing $1,800, $1,900 worth of dentistry, right? Let's let's be nice and let's say it's 1,800. That means $700 per year for that patient was the write-off. Now imagine that patient is there with you for 4 years. That write-off doesn't end in year one. Year two, you have the same write-off. Year three, you have the same write-off. Year four, you have the same write-off. So that single patient is costing you $2,800 in marketing fee, right? Think about it. What does the PPO plan do? It only thing they do is send you new patients. They don't help with technology. They don't help with dentistry. They don't do anything other than send you that patient once upon a time. Now, from that once upon a time, for as long as that patient is your patient, you are sending them a monthly, annual, write-off, invisible check, which is the marketing fee. So imagine $2,800 is the cost of that patient from a marketing perspective. When you're giving away $2,800 for marketing for a single patient, you can't make the rest of the numbers work. So you end up getting into this, do twice as many work just to make ends meet practice, not relationship driven. So they kind of drive you into that commodity they want you to be in the first place by forcing you to take such a big, hit.
Yeah.
So it's very important. And going back to that first question you asked me, which is a great question, what is the marketing problem most practice owners are not even aware of? This is it. Like you don't even know that this patient cost you $2,800 as long as they were with you for 4 years. And when you have that kind of a penalty, or like let's call it, rope around your neck, it's hard to kind of breathe. It's hard to come out. That is the number one problem I think practices have to solve.
Yeah, no, I get it. In my observation, Naren, when I look at, how many, like what percentage of your insured patients actually find you because you're in network? And in my assessment, this is Ben Tuinei, this is our company's assessment on it, is it's 5%. Only 5% of people with a PPO plan actually go to the Find My Dentist directories on Delta, Cigna, MetLife. So when you really think about it, you're writing off 40% of your income or even more, but you're actually not getting new patients from that insurance plan at all. If any, patients shop around. In fact, the first question that most people ask when they call a practice is, do you take Delta? Do you take MetLife? So what does that tell you? They're just
You don't even know.
Yeah, they're looking. They're not on the PPO website. So with this issue, Naren, in terms of this really big expense to use insurance as a form of marketing, and let's call it a big marketing expense. To solve this, I hear you speaking about a lot of doing SEO, right, on Google, because it's a fraction of the cost of that compared to being in network and taking a massive write-off with the expectation that you're going to get new patients from this insurance plan. Can you speak to that on the part of dominating Google with SEO and how much more financially feasible that is compared to being in network and taking those big write-offs?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm being very transparent. Like, you have referred so many clients, you know this, Ben. We charge $1,250 a month, and that is all inclusive, right? And that includes SEO, website, social media, everything. And by the end of year one, our clients are ranking for at least 100 keywords or more on page one, which means now they join the group of practices that get 95% of the free traffic from Google. The way Google works is, the winners have it all, meaning the ones who are in the top 5% get 95% of the free traffic. And the reason they do that is now the 95% who don't belong to that winner bucket have to give Google tons of money to get the same people through ads, right? So, and you're right, even the people who are calling you are asking you, do you take Delta or do you take MetLife? Because they didn't go to the MetLife website or Delta website to find you. They went to Google to find you. So they Google whatever they need, veneers, Invisalign, general dentistry, toothache, you name it. And then you show up. And then also Google shows your reviews. So they know that you have pretty good reputation. You have lots of 5-star reviews. And now they're calling your office. And as one of the many questions they ask, do you take Delta? They didn't say you are on a PPO plan. They just said, hey, I have this free thing that my employer gave me. Like they didn't pay for it. So it is worth what it is, which is nothing because they didn't pay for it. Do you take it? And your answer should be absolutely, even when you're not in network. Yeah, we have an insurance, specialist. her job is to help you get every penny from, XYZ insurance company. Absolutely, we take your insurance, right? That's it.
Yeah.
So you don't have to sign up to the insurance plan and give them 40, 45%, to be able to attract that same patient, through Google. So the key is, why are you, giving them, that example we did, the $2,800 over a 4-year period in a marketing fee for them doing nothing, versus, put a tiny fraction of that into SEO and get that patient directly from SEO. And then because you're not signed up with that PPO plan, now you don't have to deal with the write-off anyways. So that's my approach. Now, SEO is not hard, like we said. Only 5%, have the privilege of getting 95% of the free traffic. So the question is, how do you get into the 5%? And Google cares about 6 things. And one of them is like original content, NAP, Lighthouse Go. I think we have done episodes on this in the past. We
Yeah.
can put a link to it, Ben, and perhaps people can go through it. And so that's it. So, get serious, right? Get serious on not giving the fat cats at the insurance companies thousands of dollars in marketing fee for every patient for the life of that patient, and rather start dominating Google. So you're going to get them for a fraction of the cost. I mean, literally, it's like 3 cents on the dollar or 2 cents on the dollar, even, like, meaning instead of spending $30,000 in PPO write-offs, you could spend $1,000 in SEO and get the same results.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I like what you mentioned there, because it reminds me of, I took a IV sedation course, well, part of the DSO that my first ever dental job, and we hired some doctors out of Canada to come in and teach IV sedation and get us certified for that. We'll get the doctors ready to get certified for it. And interestingly, their practice is up in Canada, but their practice was a worldwide practice. So this was back in 2007 or 2008. Half of their patients were not Canadian residents. They were coming from other countries. And I asked them, I was like, how did you guys do that? I say, well, sedation is sort of a very underserved area in dentistry. But the half of our patients actually never call in. They contact us through email. We never talk to them. They just, we set up the appointment and all that, make it easy for them. But the first time we ever have a conversation with them is when we're, in their mouth, in the chair. And the number one thing that they did was they did SEO back in 2007 and 2008.
Right.
And so it's amazing. So I'm a big believer with what you're mentioning, Naren, because I've seen it. I still see it in this day and age in live action from clients that do very well with this. So what I would suggest for listeners is that if you're struggling in marketing, do a consultation with Naren's team. Do a marketing strategy meeting. You go to insuranceuntangledcom/MSM to request that consultation. And I can promise you, at the very least, your eyes will be open to new possibilities in terms of marketing. Naren, we're getting ready to do a webinar for about 2025, right? Making that the best year yet for dentistry. What are 3 metrics you think that doctors should strive for to make 2025 their best year?
That's a great question, Ben. I appreciate it. I think there are 3 things that most doctors don't know, but they absolutely need to know if they want 2025 to be their best marketing year yet. One is the cost of an average new patient from each marketing source. So let's say you're doing SEO, you need to know how much SEO is costing you, which you should know because you're the one signing the checks. But also you need to know how many new patients you're getting from that. So you need to have some kind of a tracking, and you can set up call tracking, you can set, landing page tracking, whatever it is. You need to have tracking set up so you can figure out, it should be a math equation. You shouldn't go to your front desk person and say, hey, tell me how many new patients you're getting from this or that, because she will only tell you what people told her. And 90% of the time or 99% of the time, it's not accurate, because people tend to tell each other what they just remembered or what just happened. So for example, I asked Ben, how's your day? And let's say he had an argument with somebody. He's going to say it's a crappy day, right? Versus, he got a $100,000 check in the mail for something. He's going to say it's a great day, but the reality is neither of them are true, because the day is more than just what just happened. But we as humans tend to remember what just happened. So don't ask your patients, to figure out what marketing is working. Just track it. So find out what the cost of average new patient using tracking. So you know how much you're spending, and based on the tracking, how many new patients you're getting, and then divide the two. Second metric I would strongly recommend is, number of keywords ranking on page one. We talked about, 30 to 1 advantage for SEO versus PPO plan. So if you are sick and tired of giving these PPO plans, like, the example we did was $2,800 over a 4-year period because of the insurance write-off, which is a marketing expense, try to get into the top 5% that gets 95% of the free traffic from Google. And you are among the top 5% once you rank for 100 or more keywords. So number of keywords ranking on page one, meaning in the top 10 results of Google, how many keywords are ranking? How do you figure this out? Log into Google Analytics. We do that with all of our clients. You need to track how many keywords are ranking on top 10, and then make sure, there are at least 100 keywords ranking on top 10. Again, don't listen to anybody's advice on it. Just look at Google Analytics because you want actual measurable data that's accurate.
Right.
And the last metric I would recommend is conversion rate. The average dental practice, according to lots of research, only books 1 out of 3 new patients. So if you're one of those, I'm assuming you are, average or maybe a little bit better than average, then you need to know what your conversion rate is. Again, don't ask your team, because if you ask your team, they'll say we are crushing it, because nobody thinks they purposefully are doing a bad job, either because of training or whatever else. So don't ask, just figure it out. So track every call coming in. And that's something we do as part of our service. And then figure out, of all the new calls coming in, how many are new patient calls and how many are booking. So let's say you got 30 new patient calls and only 10 booked. That means your conversion rate is 10 divided by 30, 33%. So those are the 3 metrics I would really pay attention to on a weekly, monthly, at least a monthly basis. And I would review. And I want these numbers to grow. So number one, cost of an average new patient. You want the cost of average new patient to go down, right? PPO plans, let's say, costing you $2,500 a new patient, SEO would cost you $60. So start attracting patients using methods that cost you the least. Number 2, number of keywords ranking on page 1. Again, really, really important. And the minimum is 100. Number 3, conversion rate, right? The average practice only books 1 out of 3. That is 33%. What is yours? Maybe you can, once you know what it is, then you can grow it. My ideal would be 70, 80%. So regardless of where you are, track these 3 metrics and improve them.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. So many things come to mind with what you said there with those 3 different areas. And I agree with all of them, because the big thing is just finding a less expensive way to earn new patients. I think every business wants to look at that, with good or bad economic times. It's just it's good business, right? So for final question here, Naren, what is one goal that you think all practice owners should accomplish for 2025? One common thing that we could all benefit from.
Absolutely. I do think Google reviews are like table stakes today. Like, it's no longer nice to have, it's absolutely must have. And you kind of alluded to, only 5% of the people are even going to the Delta or the MetLife website to find a dentist. They go to Google. And one of the things they always pay attention to is Google reviews. So every practice, you don't need to hire a marketing firm. You don't need any help. You can do this on your own. Should at least get 10 or more reviews every month. And again, we have done episodes on this. We can put a link to that. Take a look at it. Like, try to get minimum 10 or more Google reviews a month. So important. It doesn't cost you a dime. That would be my final tip. And, the one goal we all must, pay attention to and achieve in 2025, 10 or more Google reviews every single month.
Love it. Love it. Reminds me of my sister, who's a medical doctor. She's practicing in Hawaii. She flies up to Utah every year for her dental appointments. And I always ask her, it's like, hey, I know that you have a lot of family here, but it's like, there's a lot of good doctors in Hawaii too. And she's like, well, I trust these guys. I trust this practice. And she said, you Google them, you'll see that they are highly trusted among the community because they have so many 5-star reviews. And naturally, when, I hear Gary Takis talk about this quite a bit, Naren, is that you got to make the reason as to why people come to you, you got to make it something different than you being in network, right? It's not only about you avoiding those write-offs, by having patients come to you from an out-of-network perspective, or having patients come to you for a different reason other than you being in network. I think how you position it on the Google SEO part of things, positioning how you're branded, how you look to people, in an effort to sort of sidestep being in network as the number one reason why people come to you, because that's as you mentioned, Naren, it's the most expensive form of marketing, which is being in network with insurance. So, Naren, I appreciate you sharing your insights today. Always a pleasure chatting with you and kind of picking your brain on a lot of these things. I always learn amazing new things as it pertains to marketing. So thank you, Naren, for the wonderful thoughts and ideas. And I want to thank our guests for joining us today on another amazing episode of the Insurance Untangled podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to share this with your friends on social media and give us a like, send us a review on any of the podcast platforms that you use. Check us out at insuranceentangled.com to find future webinars and all of our episodes, as well as any future and current freebies and promotions that we're going to be giving out there. Until we meet again, thank you for joining us, and we wish all of you the best of success.